Not so practical, but never mind. So, good afternoon. I don't really like to introduce myself, but still, I think you have to understand why I'm here. Maybe I need to talk about my career because I used to be a medical teacher, and I used to work at the hospital in Paris in anesthesia. And as a doctor and as a teacher, and this a very specific specialty. Resuscitation has really led me to experience many things, and I was also a firefighter, and I've been a reservist for the French army. So I've been interested in all issues associated with the safety and everything that has to do with the security also. And gradually I started to work with the police forces, with the gendarmerie. And once I ended my career as a doctor and as a teacher, I became an advisor to the prefect, and I also became the head doctor, chief doctor at the police department in Paris, and this is the anti-commando brigade. So this is the reason why I was at the hypercacher event, and I was in the emergency line of the brigade when the Bataclan attacks occurred. So I was there to organize the care provided to the policemen, because this is my role. Obviously, this is why I was hired for. But because of the severity of the events, I made sure that we could evacuate and look after most of the victims, those who were truly badly injured. So this is the reason why I'm here today. I'm not here to talk about what happened at the hypercacher or supermarket or at the Bataclan. I'm sure you've all watched TV, or you've watched things on YouTube. I think you more or less know how things happened. We can talk about this later on if you're interested in doing the discussion, if you want more details. What I'd like to do is really try and answer the question asked for this session and tell you what my thoughts on it. I've been working in resuscitation for 40 years, and I've been a doctor, and I've worked with police forces for many, many years. But as you might imagine, those events were still quite shocking to me. But I'd like to really talk about the positive things. So many people felt involved, and they felt truly committed, and they volunteered spontaneously, or people went on site, even though they weren't even on duty. So we saw dozens of firefighters, first aid workers, or who came, to help their colleagues who were really, as you can imagine, having a very hard time. Dozens of nurses also came to the site in Paris, but also in Nice. They didn't have to do that, but they did. They came to help their colleagues, to help them out and to support them because they were simply overwhelmed by the situation. And there are also countless doctors or nurses, independent nurses. I mean, they don't work in a hospital, but they simply came from their homes in order to provide assistance also. So there was this point in time because we saw all those people come and join us in solidarity, and then we thought that maybe afterwards people would stop being so solidar because things would be quieter, but not at all. No, since the terror attacks in November, hundreds of ordinary citizens have received first aid training, for example. Within a month after the November attacks, we've organized over 8,000 first aid training sessions, and 80,000 people have received that training so far. On the day before yesterday, the minister launched a campaign called Let's Adopt the Behaviors That Will Save People. And this was launched the day before yesterday. We are already seeing the first people who want to learn about first aid. Many people also decided to enroll with the Red Cross or other such structures, or they even decided to become firefighters. We have almost 200,000 people, firefighters, who do this on top of their regular jobs. And others are alongside the army, and soldiers. And for example, very recently there were 9,000 people in the army reserve, and now we have even 2,000 additional people who've just enrolled. Also have people who were enrolled in the civic service. This is aimed at young people. The age limit is 25 years old. And not too long ago there were 3,000 young people enrolled, and now there are 70,000. And to the end of the year there will be 120,000. And so, as you can see, there's a great show of solidarity. So, what's the conclusion? Well, we could say that there is a small number of people who do not feel that they're part of society and who believe those ideologies. But this is just a minority. The great majority is actually active, and they want to fight against extreme violence. So if we want to fight a threat, then we need to act. We cannot simply let other people act and simply have a wait-and-see attitude. So we need to be mobilized. All citizens have to feel mobilized. All citizens have to wonder what they can do in order to support their country. And this is what they can do for their children, for their great children, etc. Everyone can contribute in order to guarantee collective everyone's safety. This is what fraternité, brotherhood, is all about. We need to have equal rights and be informed. There is no small involvement. Everyone can contribute. Everyone can make a contribution depending on one's knowledge, competences, and availability. Everyone can at least transmit their knowledge and know-how to others. So when we're faced with a risk, regardless of the risk, we have to stay calm, and we have to work together in order to build a stronger society, a society that will be more resilient. We shouldn't simply listen to our instinct. We need to make sure that we call upon our reasoning and our knowledge. And we have to show altruism. We have to be educated, and this is how we will succeed. Thank you. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Safran. We have approximately 1 minute and 30 seconds left. So I'd like to ask you whether this speech, in order to mobilize people, is something that is heard by younger generations. Yes. I've just given you some figures. There is this great mobilization campaign in the first aid sector in order to train people in schools, and young people are very much interested in first aid course. You know, it provides people with an objective, with something to achieve, with a goal. It makes people stronger, and it provides for more cohesion. So we talked about the hyper-cacher supermarket and the Bataclan. So the targets were the youth. Yes, definitely. It was really striking when we arrived. No, we didn't. We were abashed by what we saw. You know, I had been doctor for 40 years and in resuscitation, and they were all young people, and they were our children who were there. And this is extremely traumatizing. Well, it may be for me because I had such long experience, but I can assure you that my colleagues in the police forces, but also the firefighters, they were really traumatized. Not by so much by the number of victims, but by the age, but because of the age of the victims. Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Safran.